Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tabitha with Moonlight Custom Creations, and today I'm going to show you how to do a Northern Lights tumbler. Oh, this is just so gorgeous. Oh, I love this one. This is by far probably one of my favorite ones to do. All right, and if you're interested in learning how to do a Northern Lights tumbler or how I did it, stick around, watch the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go ahead and let's get started.
All right, y'all, what I have here is a 20-ounce skinny from Maker Flow Craft. My link for them will be in the description box below. And I have my epoxy here. We're starting out with some mica powders, amethyst purple. I think the first one was seafoam green, sapphire blue, and then bubblegum glow. These are the mica powders that I will be using for my Northern Light. So I have my epoxy here, I have A and B, and I'm just going to mix them both in this medicine cup. You want to make sure that your epoxy is mixed up very, very well, just like you were applying final layers onto your tumbler. Right here, I'm using about 20 milliliters of epoxy. I don't use all of this, so you will have some epoxy left over, and that's fine. I always mix up a little bit more than not having enough here. So I'm just mixing up the 20 milliliters of epoxy, and we're going to put this all over our tumbler here. Now that you have your epoxy all mixed up, you can put a generous coat all over your tumbler here. And I'm just smoothing it all out, making sure I get a nice even coat all over my tumbler. You could also place your tumbler on the turner and do this while your tumbler is on the turner. I just feel like I have better control over applying my products when I do it this way as I'm doing the Northern Light. But it's completely up to you. Definitely a personal preference here. After you get your epoxy all over your tumbler, you can take a fan brush. That's what I'm using right here. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And I'm just dipping it into each one of my colors and then going in a slanted motion, putting it down my tumbler here. With each color, I'm starting off with seafoam green, and then I'm going in with the amethyst purple. I'll go in with the sapphire blue here as I get it everywhere. And I'm just tapping it into the mica powders that I poured on my parchment paper and then putting it onto my tumbler here. Now I love this bubble gum glow because you'll see in a minute, it actually comes out a pink color, and I think it gives it an amazing shimmer to the Northern Light. And I'm just making sure that I dust this all over my tumbler. You're also going to need a little squeegee here in a minute, and I'll show you exactly what I do with that. But really, there's no rhyme, there's no reason, just go with how you feel on this. And this is where I'm going to use the squeegee, and I'm just using it in a upward motion. I'm going towards the top of the cup and just sweeping all them mica powders, that way they blend. And this is the part right here where you can see as you're blending your mica powders out to get that Northern Lights effect, you can add more colors if you want to. I do end up adding just a little bit more of that bubblegum glow here. And you just want to continue blending the colors until you feel that you like the design here. And that is what we have so far. I think this is absolutely beautiful. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pop it on the turner and I'm going to let it spin for the 12 hours. I'm using KS resin, so that spins for 12 hours. And then I will be back to show you the next step. Now that epoxy layer is fully dry, we're going to go ahead and place our details. First, I'm going to be putting down this tree line here. I found it on Google, and Right here, I am using Cricut vinyl, which I'm not a huge fan of, but that's what I have at the moment. So we're just going to line these trees up and we're going to put it at the bottom of our tumbler here. And then we're going to get out any air bubbles or anything that may be lingering, any air bubbles, air pockets, whatever you call it. I call them air bubbles. And that's what we have here. You could also take an X-Acto knife or your weeding tool to poke out any bubbles and then smooth it out with your scraper. And I saw this on a Duncan Custom Airbrush. I saw this on his channel where on his Northern Lights tumbler he added snow to the trees, and I absolutely loved it. So I definitely wanted to give him credit for this right here because I definitely wanted to add snow. I think it gave it so much more dimension to the trees and it made them pop so much more than just leaving it plain. So I just have a marker here that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm adding snow to all of my tree branches. Really, I didn't have a plan here. So I just on each one of the branches, I just added some snow and then some squiggly lines in the middle. Honestly, that's all I did here. And it gave it so much dimension. It made the trees pop so much more. You don't really have to have any drawing experience or anything like that to do this, and it makes it look so much better. Now I'm going to go put the decal on. I absolutely love this saying right here. And right here, I am using vinyl from Courtney's Customs. If you haven't checked out her vinyl, I highly, highly recommend it. And my link for her will be in the description box below. Her holographic vinyl, it's so easy to cut and it's just absolutely amazing. And now I'm just going to go through and make sure that I don't have any bubbles or anything like that. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tape this off and I'm going to spray paint the bottom right here. I'm going to spray paint that black. That way it blends in with the tree line. And after I get that done and that dries, I will be back to show you the next step. All right, I popped this on the turner after my black spray paint has dried. I did use the flat black from Rust-Oleum, and what we're going to do here is I'm going to be putting my epoxy on. I do have 20 milliliters of epoxy. Now that I got my epoxy all mixed up, I'm going to put this all over my tumbler here, making sure that I do have an even coat and that it's spread all throughout my tumbler. I will be adding some glitter on top of this epoxy here. So I'll be applying the glitter using the epoxy method. And honestly, whenever I do this, whenever I just sprinkle glitter on, that is my favorite way to use. That is my favorite thing to use is the epoxy method, just because I feel like I have a little bit more control and then I know exactly where my glitter is going, if that makes sense. Now, after you have an even layer, I go ahead and I take my gloves off and I'm going to use my heat gun here and I'm going to pop any bubbles that may be in with the epoxy. Now what I'm going to be using is this chunky mix silver that's from Let's Resin. I didn't have one from the glitter grind, so I'm just using what I have. And I'm just going to sprinkle it all throughout the tumbler to make it look like stars. So I just take little pinches of the glitter and then just spread it all throughout the tumbler here. I did want to use a little bit more, so I'm using Interstellar from the glitter grind, and I'm going to use the same method. I'm just going to pinch it on and sprinkle it all throughout the tumbler to make it look like smaller stars. And now after you're done with this, you're going to let this tumbler spin for about 12 hours. Make sure that it's fully cured. And then I do put 2 more coats of epoxy on it, and then your tumbler is done. And this tumbler is absolutely my favorite. It's absolutely gorgeous. Afterwards, I'm going to pop any more bubbles that may be in there. And that is the tutorial. That's how you make a Northern Lights tumbler. I really hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much.